Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today by supporting the Going In Raw Patreon. You can enjoy access to the live taping of the show, exclusive merchandise, and patron-only episodes, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to or available here.
This isn't Going In
the
Raw.
iTunes.
This is Going In Raw Dirt Sheet.
It's still available on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the iHeartRadio, on the Stitcher Radio, on, of course, youtube.com/Steven Larson. Our numbers are off the hook. Be sure to hit that subscribe and download button over there on the iTunes. I love every day I look at our rankings. It's obsessively. I get nothing done because I'm looking at our podcast rankings.
You are pretty obsessed with it.
It's horrible. Anyways, we're joined right now by 12 lovely patrons. You can check us out at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. You guys can check out the live stream, which is what they're doing right now. You can check out, we got this shirt. This is like an expensive range. That's a $50 reward.
$50,
Son of a
yeah.
bitch. I'm gonna make more shirts so anybody can buy them. Anybody can give us more money, Larson. Anytime. We got somebody in the comments saying, on one of our last videos, "Fuck you asking for money." He said, "Fuck off, Patreon." Like, wow. It's funny how much hate watching we get these days. I noticed that on Twitter. Somebody today was like, "This is why your podcast sucks," because I said the American Alpha. I feel that, like, after watching NXT last night, we're going to talk about NXT a little bit later, but I felt that the Revival to me is so much more polished than the American Alpha team. I felt like their presence on SmackDown to me is weightier and would be a bigger weight for the tag division.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know what I mean? That's one man's opinion.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I said, don't get me wrong, I love American
Yeah,
Alpha
they're
team.
great.
But I think the Revival, I thought they should have been switched.
Yeah.
Because American Alpha could still have had a really good run against those big dudes, the Authors of Pain.
Authors of Pain, yeah.
Yeah, but somebody didn't like that. That's why your podcast sucks. You suck.
All right, do what you're gonna do.
Patrons. Recent patrons.
We don't normally do all this.
Lee
all this
Boswick,
on
Michael Barnes,
Dirt Sheet, but okay.
Tia Katai, Stephen Rail, and Adam.
Thank you.
All put in for the Patreon, so thank you very much.
Thank
That's
you.
all I wanted to do.
That's fine.
That's all I wanted to do. It's
Usually
a dirt sheet. It's a
usually-
dirt sheet. Well, I want the dirt sheet to be more now, okay? I just
right.
want that. I want
You
that.
essentially want 3 full podcasts every week.
Yes! What's wrong with that? I'm going to start taking questions, too. We have 2 video questions today. At the
Yeah.
$20 level of Patreon, you can submit a video question. But first, this is the dirt sheet, which means that...
This is supposed to be quick hits of
dude.
news.
Yes. It's news that we don't get to during the regular podcast
Yeah.
because the regular podcast is generally for the Raw and SmackDown
Yeah,
recap. So
yeah.
we need some other place to talk about news. But if we had an hour or 2 hours worth of news, we would talk about news for 2 hours. We're also doing our NXT recap today. I didn't watch CWC, so I'm not.
I didn't either.
I don't have any of that. I don't have it. I don't
I
have
didn't
it.
watch
Don't do it. Didn't do it.
I was tired, so I didn't watch. I went to
I'd
bed.
rather watch Ring of Honor, but I don't know how to maneuver their website. All right, Larson, this is the dirt sheet, which means we got a bunch of news items that we're going to read about.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about those items today.
First item.
I'm all sweaty and my hair's fucked up. This is not a good start. This is not a good look for me.
First item. According to Cage Side Seats, current plans call for Finn Balor to claim the Universal title at SummerSlam, and that title is being viewed as the top belt, not the WWE World Championship. Universal title, top belt, which I guess to a certain extent makes sense because the universe encompasses more than just the world.
None of this surprises me. The draft, for whatever reason, it'll still be interesting to hear whoever comes out of this and actually shoots on it. Like, whatever take there is on this draft, if we ever get to learn what happened with this draft.
Yeah.
And why it leans so heavily in Raw's favor when they have an opportunity to really make SmackDown.
The only good explanation was
The Monday
from,
Night Football thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of our friendos in the chat.
Yeah.
Suggested they made Raw the stronger show to compete with Monday Night Football. Which, I understand that, but at the same time, I'd be interested to see how many people watch Raw live versus on DVR, on Hulu, on any of the other.
Well, I wonder. I mean, look, maybe when they went to USA, they said, "Hey, USA and WWE worked out certain benchmarks that maybe the WWE felt that just by virtue of the fact that they're live and have John Cena, or just by virtue of the fact that they have these certain things, they know they can meet and beat those benchmarks pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, you're going to do better, I would think, than Thursday tape SmackDown.
Yeah.
You would think, right?
Yeah, just by the nature of it being live with a little extra star power and John Cena and Daniel Bryan.
And exclusivity. Exactly. So you would think that would be the case. And in which case, they can still endeavor to make Raw their powerhouse show and, compete with Monday Night Football and compete with a lot of things that show up on Mondays. Because, you hear about a lot. I think, isn't the NCAA football game usually on a Monday?
The title game?
Yeah, the title game.
I think it's on a Tuesday, but I could be wrong.
Really? Or is it on the same day of the year every year?
No, it's not that.
No? Okay.
They just changed it. The semifinals now are going to be on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve.
I would just think that there's more programming to compete with on Mondays than Tuesdays in general.
Yeah,
that's just my general feeling.
Yeah.
And Monday Night Football is the obvious one because that's, 16 weeks?
17.
17
Not
weeks?
including preseason.
Because okay. Exactly. So, that's probably what. I think we just figured it out there.
But, you could still have one roster being stronger, but not necessarily view the belts as less than equal per se. We said this before, the top of the card on both shows is fairly comparable, the top 5, 6 names.
This is where
it's below that where the differences really stand out.
Here's where it's going to matter, is who goes to Good Morning America, who goes to The Daily Show, who goes to Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the ambassador for the WWE?
Yeah.
And I think it's probably going to be fluid because let's say John Cena, which he will, wins that World Heavyweight Championship.
He's going to make all those appearances.
He's going to make the appearances as opposed to Finn Balor. But if Seth Rollins has the title and Dolph Ziggler has it,
and Seth Rollins,
it's going to be Seth because he knows how to do that shit. So I don't know. I mean, in the eyes of fans, it's going to vary based on which. I mean, we've gotten a lot of heat for how much we've been ripping SmackDown because a lot of people out there, I'm not going to say the majority, but a minority of people out there really love SmackDown over Raw for whatever reason. Whatever their predilections are, that's what they prefer.
Yeah.
They like having the A camera be that weird camera crane,
Yeah.
And so, those people are going to find that title is probably number one in their hearts.
Yeah.
As far as the WWE is concerned, I think it'll just matter on who's carrying which belt as, who's the face of the company. And whoever's holding that belt, they're going to be the face of the company.
Yeah, pretty much.
And right now, it doesn't even matter. If you have John Cena, you're going to put him wherever, even if he's not the champion, you're going to put him on wherever.
It'll be interesting to see if Finn does win the Universal title and Dean retains as we expect. Which of those two will be making the promotional appearances on Good Morning America or the Daily Show?
If it's either of them, or if it's, here's the thing. Like, if you notice,
I would think right now it would be Dean because he's the established name.
Well, here's also, I noticed this during SmackDown, they announced before the main event that Dolph Ziggler was headed towards is going to do an interview on ESPN.
Yeah.
In which case, everybody on the Twitter at Real Going In Raw,
he was going to win.
We're like, yeah, Dolph's going to. We all knew he was going to win anyways, but it was like, okay, well, Dolph is going to win this obviously now because he's going to be on ESPN.
Yeah.
So, but they seem to be. I think their relationship with ESPN seems fairly equitable to both brands.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to, whenever there's a big deal happening, they're going to send that guy going to ESPN.
I mean, to do, leading up to SummerSlam, they'll have the champ, one of the champs. Well, I guess there'll only be one champ.
There's only one champ, yeah.
Say, leading into Survivor Series, they'll have one of the champs doing promotion.
They have another guy. They have 2 titles that they can send to people.
Yeah.
They can send to outlets. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So does this surprise you that Vince and according to this, both Vince and Triple H are very high on. We knew that Triple H was. Vince is always a question.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that Vince was as high on Finn as Triple H was. Because he's typically, Vince historically likes the larger guys.
Yeah.
And Finn is, by pretty much any definition, a cruiserweight. Let's say there hasn't been cruiserweight champions because there has been.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of a bit surprising.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like $1 million.
Yeah, he does. He's got tons of talent. So.
Yeah. Next from Daily Wrestling News. Raw versus SmackDown. We're looking for, it looks like the WWE is going to be doing more interpromotional matches after this Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton one.
And after SummerSlam, yeah.
Yeah. Sort of maybe related to this, there's also a rumor going around that the King of the Ring is coming back.
Give me my true WWE Universal Champion.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Well, I
Once
mean,
a year.
This would be a great sort of bragging rights type thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I'd want the main event to be at WrestleMania, or the culmination of that tournament to be at WrestleMania. But if they have its own show where you get 8 wrestlers from SmackDown, 8 wrestlers from Raw, do the tournament, have the quarters, the semis, and the finals on one show. That'd be fantastic. Or at least the semis and finals on one show. That'd be great.
Yeah, the true king. What would be better than being a king? Emperor and king the same. Emperor is
I think they're fairly synonymous.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want something bigger though. Galactic ruler. You know.
I think you'd have to put an adjective in front of
the universe is
king.
bigger. The universe is bigger than the galaxy, so you need something bigger than the universal title. That's a problem. Multiverse title.
Yeah, the interdimensional title.
Lana and Rusev got married, Larson.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Machka.
They got married out there in Malibu. Leading up to it, Lana was Instagramming all these great pics of her in bikinis and various dresses with all sorts of spillage hanging out, and they look like a very happy couple.
Yeah.
They played it up on Raw, of course, but the actual ceremony took place.
She's been playing up the engagement for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then apparently the wedding will eventually be the centerpiece, I'm sure, of the next season's finale of Total Divas. And apparently there was a multitude of WWE superstars in attendance.
Do you think they're probably gonna have some sort of last minute drama? Dresses not fitting the way they should.
I'm sure. Something.
All sorts of business.
Did you see on Instagram
I'm
that
really
Ryback went to the wedding?
Now, can we assume he was invited? Because I just kept on saying that he crashed the wedding.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was true. He's not going to crash the wedding.
No.
I'm surprised. Like, if he didn't have an invite, he wouldn't even know where the wedding was being taken place.
That's true.
So I'm assuming that him and Rusev are probably buddies.
Could be.
Did they feud? They probably feuded.
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Man. I don't know. Ryback. Boy, he played his hand wrong, huh? Brand split? Tell me he couldn't be huge on SmackDown.
Well, he would
Tell
have
me he couldn't be huge on SmackDown.
Decent, prominent spot on SmackDown, yeah. He would have carved himself a nice spot on SmackDown.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely. Bad move, Ryback. How is he doing all that feed me more
I don't know.
stuff without violating some sort of trademark policy with the WWE? I wonder if they're just waiting until this contract runs out. Because maybe while he's under contract, he's allowed to use the trademark, but for his own products? That doesn't make any sense.
No, none of it makes sense.
He's doing supplements.
Yeah, nutritional supplements.
Nutritional supplements using the Feed Me More stuff. He's embraced the Feed Me More thing.
And it's the same logo and font that he uses that WWE used for his shirts and everything.
This was really interesting. WrestleZone.com. Seth Rollins shooting on Roman Reigns.
Well, kind of.
For realsies. But no, in a very positive way. This was great. This was really great. He appeared on Bailey and Southside on Atlanta's Rock 100.5 and spoke about Rollins. I'm sorry.
Rollins spoke about Reigns. There were stories going around that he was forced, essentially, asked to apologize to the locker room.
The main line of questioning leading up to it was about Wrestler's Court.
Yeah.
And, have you ever been to Wrestler's Court? And he says, that's sort of an old-time thing. They still do it now, but for very, very silly things.
Yeah.
And they bring up Roman Reigns apologizing in the locker room. And he said, was that part of Wrestler's Court? And Rollins got very serious.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, look, being the true locker room leader he is, it was his decision to talk to the locker room and own up to what he did and explain himself.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I thought was really, really cool because I always like when you see these guys sort of defend each other. It's like, you see them on one screen in one manner.
He said a different point in the interview that it's a fraternity back there in the locker room. Mm-hmm. So I think that speaks to what you're talking about, him going on a public forum and in a way defending his coworker, probably his friend.
Yeah, and he spoke very highly of him. I mean, you remember at WrestleMania when he cashed in and he pinned Roman Reigns.
Oh, and he said thank you to him.
And he thanked him, exactly.
Yeah.
And then so that was I like hearing that. Seth Rollins seems like a professional through and through.
Despite what Bret Hart might say.
Oh, can we talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about that briefly.
Okay, so what was his? I don't know. I was looking for material for this.
Forbes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Forbes. Thanks. Yeah, it was on Forbes. It was Bret Hart giving a shoot interview, and again, and it's hilarious to listen to. But again, he equates Seth Rollins with Bill Goldberg. He says, Seth Rollins, he gave a knee to John Cena's face, which Bret Hart already talked about endlessly, after it happened. He said, this guy's reckless. And, he could have killed John Cena in the ring. He said, then he goes into Bill Goldberg. And I swear to God, he talks for 5 minutes about Bill Goldberg again.
Yeah, how people that aren't prepared to wrestle shouldn't be wrestling. But, there's a huge difference. Goldberg wrestled for, 2 years before his match with Bret, whereas Seth has been doing it since he was 16.
Something like that, yeah. Super young. So, and Seth felt bad. And Seth was like, man, that's a bummer. Like, before when Bret was talking shit about him, he was like, that's a bummer. He was one of my favorites. And so, for Bret to criticize, to do this again, and then it's funny because he asked him, he says, well, do you think Seth in that case shouldn't be in the top spot? And he was like, no, I do. But, and then then another 5 minutes of rambling about Seth Rollins. Boy, he is bitter. My goodness. Let it go, man. Let it go.
Yeah.
Been watching
accidents happen sometimes.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And Seth felt terrible about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not his fault that Sting didn't know how to take a...
I know. You hear the story about how after Sting got hurt and Seth rushed over to him and apologized. And Sting, like...
Put him over big time.
Huge.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, Seth, that was my fault. That's what Sting said.
It's none of your business, Bret.
I know.
It's not your business. You weren't there. You don't know.
I know.
Seth, what did he main evented every pay-per-view for like 15 in a row or something crazy like that. It's like you're going to have shit's going to happen sometimes,
Yeah. And Bret said he never hurt anybody inside the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you have slow plotting matches, Bret,
it's true.
It's probably less likely you're going to
rest holds.
Exactly.
Nikki Bella, is she going to return soon?
She's been prepping for a return to the ring, awaiting doctor's clearance, says ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Yeah. Are you excited about this?
I'm less excited about this and more excited about Total Bellas.
Yeah.
Because there's a promo out right now where Nikki had invited Brie and Daniel Bryan to come stay at the household while she recovers, while she's in rehab.
Yeah.
And or rehabbing her neck. Do you say in rehab when you're rehabbing a physical?
No, I think you're rehabbing.
You're rehabbing. Okay,
well, how you said the second time was correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And there's a promo right now out where John Cena is laying down the house rules.
So good.
He says, we have one formal dinner every week, usually on Wednesday. We have a fire outside that we sit by every night. Don't leave your towels on the floor.
There's a breakfast thing too, right?
There's a breakfast too.
And
we have morning coffee.
Yeah. And if you're going to be late, text us.
If you're going to stay out late, text us or tell us in advance.
That's so funny.
I can't fucking wait, because what you said off camera is exactly right. He's going to be so in this version of John Cena's character.
It's going to be like how he was in Trainwreck.
Exactly.
It's going to be hilarious.
I can't. And you know what it's going to be the entire time, because Cena's good at not cracking.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan's going to be having that look on his face like he wants to laugh the entire time. It's going to be fucking gold. I'm sorry. It's going to be great. It's going to be better than Raw and SmackDown combined. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good.
It's going to be fantastic.
Getting back to Nikki, if she were to come back for sure on SmackDown, that could give a little boost to the women's division.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anything. It makes you wonder if they're going to, well, I don't know, man. See, like our reasoning for Raw being so stacked was pretty sound. So I don't know if they're really interested in even, I don't know how interested they are in giving SmackDown much of a shrift.
Well, I think Nikki's going to go to SmackDown because that's where John Cena is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But also, her presence there will give the women's division a boost.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, she'll deny Becky Lynch her rightful title.
Oh, Becky will get it at some point.
I hope so. I want her to have it. She'll look like so much fucking money with that.
She will.
You think she has to be the first one to carry it, right? She has to be.
If not Bayley, then yeah.
Has to be Becky Lynch.
I mean, she was the first woman SmackDown drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
one would think.
Larson, so, very heated. We had somebody, the top comment on our last podcast was, Hillary supporters, I unsub. Because we get one crack about that nutcase Trump. Well, all of our fears might be put aside, Hillary or Trump. President Rhino.
Yeah, he won the Republican primary for his Michigan home district. He could be a congressman come November, election day.
The problem is, though, when he goes on the lines there, the rope lines, whatever they are, when he goes to shake hands, Secret Service isn't going to approve of a hand that only comes out to this far. He's got little tiny arms. Not tiny, they're short.
They're short,
He has really short arms. This is good for him. Rhino seems like a smart guy.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see, though, if he were elected.
So what is this? This is
I believe this is to be a congressman.
An actual congressman?
An actual U.S.
United States, right? This isn't a state senate?
I don't think so.
State Congress? Is there a state Congress?
Yeah.
There's a state Congress.
It could be. But they don't usually have.
Is he gonna? What's Michigan polling for him?
For Rhino?
For Rhino, is Michigan typically a red state or blue state?
It's
I think it's a red state.
It's a swing state.
It's a swing state, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Okay. Rhino as an actual U.S. congressman?
That'd be interesting.
Insane. Oh my God.
Gore.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's it for the news items.
Yeah, you want to talk about NXT?
Yeah, might as well.
Can we just skip ahead to Bobby Roode?
Glorious.
Oh my gosh.
Glorious.
So good.
This was I am so fucking hyped. And a year ago, I was talking about Bobby Roode, and my assertion was he needed to go straight to Maine, and he proved it last night. However, if they really want to, SmackDown, they can get by with what they got. But NXT, I think they really want to build.
Yeah.
And this guy is the guy to build around, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was amazing.
The only thing that was missing from his intro was the spark pyro coming from the side.
The spark pyro from the side.
Raining down on him.
Raining down
on him as he stands on the ramp.
I'm telling you, dude, 2018, 2019 maybe. If they really want him. See, it's always hard to tell in NXT at this point right now, because it's a very transitional time right now, who's going to stay and who's going to go.
Yeah.
And so the way he was talking, it made it sound like he's going to be one of the anchors of the brand.
Yeah.
I still feel like Samoa Joe, especially with an interview he gave the other day, and I forget who it was, so I'm not going to quote or anything, but he basically made the point that he feels like his role is to be there. You lost your red pen.
I did.
Is to be in NXT as the anchor, as the locker room leader, as the guy to grow the brand around, which I think is why he's going to be there for a while. Bobby Roode, I don't know, but I just know this. Whenever he makes his WrestleMania debut, I'm telling you, a full gospel choir
need the
singing
pyro.
that.
Yep.
His song is... They released the song before NXT aired on their YouTube channel.
Oh, they did?
So that people knew what his theme was.
Oh, that's smart.
Talk about hyping that shit up, because people were blowing up the Twitter at Real Going In Raw saying, look at this. This is amazing. This is amazing. I didn't even check it out, but I know it was before it aired. Huh. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever. I don't care about his... What do I care about his theme?
No, but then you hear his theme. It's like, wow, this is quite possibly the best theme in all of wrestling.
I'm gonna put it on my iPhone as my...
It's fantastic.
My ringtone. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And he cut a great promo.
He did.
As a heel promo. He came out and he was talking about how he wants to make NXT legit. He wants to make it...
Well, he put over the fans, too. He said not only are the wrestlers NXT, everyone in the audience, the NXT universe, if you will, are NXT.
Right. But then he dropped that he wants to basically change the NXT universe. He wants nothing but rich fat cats in those seats. No more cargo pants, oversized T-shirts. He wants corporate CEOs. Presidents in the audience, in attendance. And I think he's the man to do that. I was thoroughly behind that speech.
Oh, I was, too.
Absolutely. I mean... He's dressed like $1 million. Why shouldn't I dress myself like $1 million?
Yeah, when
if I go to NXT?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant this kind of period. I was going to say, when are you going to start doing that?
I'll wear a tie here on the set. I'll wear a tie.
He wasn't wearing a tie last night, was he? He
no, but he can pull that off better than I could. He just had a really nice suit on. I would need a tie. I like ties. Also, Hideo Itami returned versus a guy named Sean Maluda.
He was one of the competitors in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Oh, yeah.
He lost his first round match to Kota Ibushi, I believe.
Oh, yeah, you're going to lose that one. Hideo Itami, I hope he stays in NXT for a while. I think he could be... Here's the thing. I think he could be a fan favorite in NXT. I feel like he'd get lost in the shuffle anywhere else, except maybe SmackDown. Nobody's going to get lost in the shuffle at SmackDown.
Well, I was telling you before we went on about him, because he came into NXT with a lot of buzz because he was such an innovative wrestler. And I think a lot of the things that he innovated in Japan, other wrestlers have started doing in WWE or in other promotions. Yeah. So we've seen it all before.
Corey Graves even made the point last night where he said, he missed out on how massive NXT has gotten over the last year and a half. And I think a lot of it has to do with what you're saying. Yeah. We've seen so much innovation coming out of NXT that for him not to be a part of it, now he seems like he's a Johnny-come-lately a little bit.
Well, then also, he's the guy that if not invented, at least made popular the go-to-sleep. That running knee he used last night, that Daniel Bryan used as his finisher. Yeah. A lot of other things that he, if not invented, popularized, and a lot of American wrestlers started using it.
Yeah. So I hope he seemed a little rusty, a little slow. But.
It's always cool during one of his matches when he teases the GTS though.
Oh yeah.
And people pop for it. Yeah. They want to see it.
Yeah, man.
I wonder if he's ever going to do it.
I don't know. I would imagine definitely yes.
I would hope so.
Why not?
I know.
Why? I mean, why wouldn't they let him do that? What? Is that fool going to come back?
Nope.
Wrong. He's going to get murdered in September, too.
The Revival had an interview.
Like I said earlier, I tweeted this out, man. I think I saw when the Rival come out, they look like $1 million. When American Alpha comes out, they still look like they're happy to be there. I think they're great. I love them. I think they're great. I think more time in NXT, they would have that natural, intangible charisma and well, they already have that. The natural, intangible confidence of being a veteran.
See, I kind of felt like
the Revival feel like veterans.
Their growth curve, American Alpha that is, hadn't yet peaked.
Yeah.
They were still on the way up.
And it's always the best when it peaks and then they jump.
Yeah.
Look at Finn Balor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And like the Revival, I think they're peaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now would have been a perfect time to ship them to me.
On the other hand, if you look at the champions in NXT right now, you've got the Revival, you've got Asuka, and you've got Samoa Joe. Those are really, really strong anchors for their divisions. It's just I feel like SmackDown kind of needed that more than NXT. NXT, it's okay to have a developmental team hold the titles, and American Alpha are past being developmental, obviously.
Yeah.
But they still have, I think, a lot to chew on as opposed to the Revival.
Yeah.
I love both groups. I just feel the Revival would have been a heavier, weightier call-up for SmackDown.
No, I can see that.
Now, after seeing what SmackDown has.
So they had an interview in TM61.
Yeah.
Wanted to shout the titles.
HR61.
And then...
Human Resources, Room 61.
And
go down to Room 61, talk to Human Resources.
And then the father and son team of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
The father-son team.
Said that...
I love them. They're great.
Oh, they're great. And they were staking their claim to a title shot because they'd actually beat the Revival.
This was the first time they really were able and allowed to show who they were.
Well, and then more so at the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was very successful. They've got great chemistry on the mic together. And apparently, I heard that they put on a hell of a match.
Yeah, I'll have to watch
on
that.
the Cruiserweight Classic. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Just didn't get a chance to last night.
So I'm fully expecting, if it hasn't been announced yet, that Revival and Gargano and Ciampa will have a title match at TakeOver Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm thinking
if there's another round of call-ups in fall, I would think it'd be Bayley and the Revival.
Has to be the Revival.
And then the loser of the Shinsuke Samoa Joe match at TakeOver. Those would be probably the people that'll get called up.
I still say it's going to be Shinsuke and not Joe. Joe's sticking around. I'm telling you, he's sticking around.
I kind of feel like
we need a bet.
I kind of feel like
sort of stakes.
I kind of feel like that now that Bobby Roode is there, that eases the transition.
I know. You're right about
Joe
that.
going.
I know you're right about
what's
that.
Going to happen? Well, I think it's going to happen at TakeOver. Joe drops the belt to Shinsuke. Joe moves to main. Bobby Roode enters a feud with Shinsuke for the belt.
Where does Joe go?
SmackDown?
That's the obvious answer. But does he really go to SmackDown?
He should.
You think so?
He'd be a great addition to SmackDown. A great addition.
You think they're just going to keep on piling people on SmackDown until shit evens out?
No. I fully expect Shinsuke to go to Raw.
Oh my god, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Oh, I was listening to, and this it was a bit from I think JR's podcast, and he had Jim Cornette on there. So whoever's podcast it was both JR and Jim Cornette. And they were talking about Shinsuke, and they were both. It was from right after that he first debuted in NXT, and they were both giving their Shinsuke stories because they had obviously met him before, and they were both putting him over so big. They were like he's going to go as far as they will let him go, as long as they don't mess with him too much.
Yeah,
which they haven't so far.
Yeah, not at all.
And I fully expect, given how they've treated Finn Balor, I fully expect the same treatment.
Give Shinsuke 6 months, maybe 8 months as champ.
Mm-hmm.
And then bring him up to main.
Yeah.
He'll be huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So
Mojo Rawley made an appearance on NXT to wrestle Chris Atkins.
Yeah.
Match didn't last very long.
This fool, he goes up to SmackDown and then comes back to NXT and gets annihilated by Samoa Joe. Annihilated. It was great.
It was fantastic.
But in fact, it was actually Zack Ryder getting annihilated by Samoa Joe, because we all know that Mojo Rawley is simply the imaginary alter ego, the
Tyler Durden
of
Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder.
Bayley had an interview.
That's still maybe my crowning achievement in terms of fantasy booking. It's a pretty good one.
It's pretty good.
Bayley had an interview.
So confirmed women's title match at TakeOver. Bayley versus Asuka.
She's so stinking cute. She came out to commentary
Yeah,
and then
that was
Asuka
great.
said, because Asuka backstage in an interview, she came up and said, "Watch my match."
Yeah.
And then so Bayley comes to commentary, and right before the match starts, Asuka's out there. She says, "Come on down here and watch up close."
Puts
So
a
she
chair
did.
out for her on the ramp, and then
And
Bayley
Asuka-
folds up the chair and puts it down and stands right on right near the apron.
Asuka
Just
destroyed Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had an Oni Lorcan interview.
This is the fella that beat the Perfect 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, the upset.
We haven't seen Ty since that loss.
No, we haven't. Good reason. He lost to some guy named Oni Lorcan. He's like the James Ellsworth of NXT.
And he said that he was going to go back to his roots.
Yeah. I don't know what that fucking means. I saw him once. He got an upset victory. What does going back to your roots mean?
I don't know.
Where is Lorcan? That sounds like something from Middle Earth.
It does.
Is he going to come out in a Hobbit outfit of some sort? I hope so.
We spoke about Bobby Roode's debut.
We can't speak about him enough.
Pretty much.
Glorious!
It's a great song. So good. I'm going to download and listen to it all the time this weekend.
And then the Revival took on HR61.
Yeah. What do you think about HR61?
I think that was like a couple of guys from Human
I
Resources.
mean, in terms of their in-ring ability.
Nothing stands out. They look polished because I know they've been together for a little while.
Yeah.
And so I think they're going to be just fine. Nothing about them stands out. I'll put it this way. More stands out about them to me than Zack Sabre Jr.
Okay.
In the fall, I could see the Revival going up. I can even see Gargano and Ciampa coming up.
Yeah, I can see that too.
If not for tag teams, for the cruiserweight stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think between now and the fall, you're going to see a lot more tag teams come up to NXT or be signed to NXT. Maybe they'll pluck some guys from the Cruiserweight Classic and make them tag teams for NXT to fill in those big holes. And at that point, by the fall, you'll probably see TM61 have the belts.
Could be.
That wouldn't surprise me because they're doing things so fast these days.
I mean, their promo last night with the Revival, I don't remember much about it, but it wasn't bad.
No, they're polished.
Yeah.
They're polished. They
They're
know what
fine,
they're doing. They're confident on the mic, and I think that's what they're looking for now. They're looking for these guys who they've done it. You know, Finn Balor steps into the main stage on Raw. He steps up there after not talking the first week, but just a little backstage segment.
Yeah.
And he stands toe-to-toe with Seth Rollins and holds ground with him.
Yeah.
You know? And that's because he's been doing it for a very long time in front of huge, massive crowds in Japan and other places. So that's what they're looking for these days. That's why I get really excited when I hear about these guys getting signed. And not guys like coming in from the NFL, MMA, stuff like that. I mean, I understand wanting to develop guys and start them out fresh and molding them if they like their look or whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing beats having 10 years of experience in the indie realm.
Yeah.
Nothing beats that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, I don't know, that's me.
Okay. We got a couple of video questions.
Yeah.
One is actually is one we tried to answer yesterday at the end of a very long day.
Yeah, and we were a little flip with the responses from our good friendo Richie Watson. Richie, go ahead and let us know what's on your mind.
Hey, what's up, friendos? I just wanted to ask what you guys truly think about Eva Marie. I just don't really see why she's still in the company since she hasn't really improved a lot, and she's been in the company for like 2-3 years, and I don't think she's had more than 20 matches on TV. I could be wrong, but I just don't see her becoming like Trish Stratus, where she's not really good at the start, but through training and perseverance, she became one of the greatest female wrestlers in the world. I just don't see Eva Marie becoming like Trish. So I just wanted to think what you guys think about it.
Okay, so he seems kind of he's so torn about this, and I see where he's coming from. And yesterday we did actually answer this on the show, but we had to cut it out because when I went back and rewatched his video question, I was like, he seems like he really wants a meaty answer.
Yeah.
And all I said is, I don't want to see her underwear come down because it'd be weird. Here's the thing about Eva Marie. They put a lot of money into her already.
Yes.
They put a lot of money into her already.
Especially the first season of Total Divas. So many of the storylines revolved around her and her place in the women's locker room.
Right.
Even just in that respect, yeah. But then all the training that she's done. They've obviously invested a lot of time trying to develop her in NXT.
They put a lot of money into Eva Marie.
Yes.
And on top of that, the one thing that she does have going for her is a very polished. Sometimes it takes a little while for somebody to get their look down perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, you look at, for example, oh god damn it, what's her name? The one who went to SmackDown to fight Dana Brooke, and then she went back down to NXT, and last week she fought.
Billie Kay.
Thank you, Billie Kay. Okay, so Billie Kay, even Becky Lynch, she had a certain look.
Yeah.
They tried to find it, and then eventually they nailed it. Eva Marie has that look down pat.
Yeah.
Her entrance, her presence, her look, we clown on it here and there, but it is so well defined. That's the word I was looking for.
And the voiceover adds so much to it.
It's all her
packaging is really good.
Is so well defined that it would be silly for them to get rid of her and then have to try to do that again with somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's why they still have her. She's never going to be a great wrestler, but she's competent enough, and she gets so much heat.
Yeah, she's competent.
She's not hurting anybody.
Well, yeah, she
did.
She kicked Carmella in the head.
Okay, all right. But she gets so much heat just by virtue of who she is, and you want that response from somebody.
She just needs to find a way, whether it's through mic skills or in-ring work, to translate that to success.
Mm-hmm, yeah, exactly.
And she has not been able to do that yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah.
And she just needs to figure it out for herself, pretty much. I think she's getting every opportunity to succeed. And
but it's going to be a one. Like, they're not going to give up on her for a very long time.
Yeah.
So thanks, Richie. Thanks for your question.
Yeah. Next question from Luke.
Mm-hmm. G'day, friendos. Just asking a quick question here. What do you believe is the number one thing that can bring SmackDown up to the level of Raw, if not better? Personally, I believe giving Heyman creative control, as he did in the past, and we all know how that turned out. Anyway, keep up the good work, and too sweet.
Thanks, Luke. Okay, so I think you and I have, let me quiz you on this. What's more important, booking or presentation?
I think it's a 1A and 1B thing. I think right out the gate for the first episode of SmackDown, what bugged me more, I understand all your critiques in terms of the booking, and I agree with them. But I think the most galling thing that bothered me was that goddamn crane.
Yeah.
It just took me out of I could have looked past some kind of iffy booking if the presentation was better.
Yeah.
And every time that crane tracked around the ring and exposed the artifice of what the wrestlers were trying to do, exposed them performing, it just took me out of it completely.
Right, yeah. No, I'm with you on that, but I do think, I think that's why we saw such a step up this week. Well, also some of your presentation issues were sort of addressed this week. But for me personally, it is the booking. It is, we sat here and rebooked SmackDown to what I thought was a superior product last week. And I thought that they could have made a really big splash by addressing the question everybody had about the Bullet Club, or about the club rather, and introducing a new member of the club by not showing the weaknesses of their roster by having a battle royal and a six-pack challenge.
Yeah.
I thought there were ways they could do that through the booking, and the presentation did have issues. I did have issues with the presentation, but to me, it was a matter of the booking. I think the booking, if it was done properly, to me personally, it would have solved a lot of those presentation issues, which I had as well, though. So I know that's basically two things, but 1A, 1B.
Yeah, it's 1A, 1B.
Which is basically like change the entire show.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's it for now. We want to say thank you all y'all guys and gals for tuning in.
Yeah.
And thanks for hitting the download, subscribe button, and keeping me enthralled by looking at these rankings every single day, every minute of my life. Yeah. You do another red pen? You might break the red pen doing that. There's no other red pens, That's the only red pen. Can I get a too sweet from red pen? I'm
gonna get an entire pack of red pens.
Can I get a too sweet? There is only one red pen, That's the only red pen.
I can find more.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.